What's up, everyone? This is Jack Mangan from Support Life in Music. Our guest today is Pat Gesualdo of the D.A.D program and the Metal Hall of Fame. Quote from this episode: "Hearing that his dying wish was to get his platinum albums, I kind of took it into my own hands to try to help that situation." Keep listening to hear who said it and what it's all about. All right, what's up, everyone? If you've been bad, Lord, I know you have. What's up, everyone? Jack Mangan here. You know me through a lot of things: Metal Hall of Fame, of course, metal.net, the Am I Evil graphic novel I did, and of course, Support Life in Music is what we're here today. Support Life in Music. We're a serious organization. It's a serious topic, but we keep the tone positive and light. If you're in a crisis, then there's 988, 911. If you can, I can redirect you. Reach out to me. I'll help you however I can. I'm not qualified. I'm not licensed, but I can reach out. I can help. Jack at supportlifeinmusic.org. But we are actually we've got someone on today who's done amazing stuff for the music world, not just in the last 10 years, but especially in the last 10 years. Has overcome a lot of cool stuff, done cool stuff in the wake of overcoming some difficulty. So I think his story is inspirational. Enough preamble. Pat Gesualdo, man, thanks so much. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, Jack, great to be here. Thank you so much. And thank you, as always, for all your help.
Yeah, well, of course. And, we were talking, this is the most important question of the day, is talk to us about that cap you got on. That's incredible. That's the best thing, the Metal Hall of Fame cap you're wearing.
Oh, yeah, Metal Hall of Fame. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we got some cool stuff in the shop going on. And, that's always good to have some merch. And it's always fun to have, of course, coming up with some new things that'll be released pretty soon.
Oh, cool. Exciting. Yeah. And of course, the t-shirts look great. Anyway, we'll get into real questions, but I just had to lead off by just saying it's a very cool hat, or cap, right? That's actually not
Thank
a hat.
you.
Like, yeah. All right. Now
Yeah,
onto
like
the
a
more
Scully,
serious.
basically.
Yeah, right. It's excellent. So, and actually, I'll say, so full disclosure, Pat and I have known each other for a while. We met through the Metal Hall of Fame, which of course Pat is the founder and in charge of, has done amazing things with it. We met through the Metal Hall. We're also both Jersey guys. I'm not there. I'm not in Jersey anymore, but we got a lot in common. I envy the pizza that Pat has access to every day. But so Pat and I, we're buds. Like, I saw Pat the last time was back there in Jersey. So he's a great guy. I'll vouch for this guy to the end. So talk to us a little bit about Pat. I understand. So talk to us a little about your origins. Let's start actually with the D.A.D program, because this is an incredible thing you've done, and I really admire this. Before we talk about the Metal Hall, talk to us about what D.A.D stands for and how it came about.
Sure. Well, D.A.D stands for Drums and Disabilities. I launched it 21 years ago. Mayor Bloomberg helped me launch the program. Lucille Davey, who at the time was the commissioner for the Department of Education for New Jersey. Vince McMahon helped a little bit, the WWE, and some senators and congressmen. Yeah, and it's an organization that I started to help children and adults with special needs, and we do that in a variety of ways, for sure.
Excellent. And now, I understand now you had a personal reason. You've shared this in interviews before. You had a personal reason for founding the D.A.D program.
Yeah. So I pioneered the healing art of drum therapy, which we train the synapses in the brains through drumming, which the D.A.D program is all based off. Of course, D.A.D being an official 501c3 nonprofit organization. And that came about through some disabilities that I had as a child, and I was able to overcome them, thankfully. And that's how really the whole drum therapy thing got started, was through my battle, because drumming helped me alleviate my disabilities 100%, thankfully.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know that there's been so many studies done about about the ways that playing music and even just listening to music, some people's disabilities are actually as extreme enough that they're not able to do much playing. But yeah, that's wonderful. And yeah, and it's talk to us about some of your proudest moments with Dad, like some of the proudest things that you've done. I mean, just the fact that this exists is incredible. But yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I am just so grateful to be able to return what I was so fortunate to have received as a child. Um, and so my disability started about 4 years old when I tried to speak and I couldn't speak. And um, I had no fine motor skills, no communication skills. I also was severely dyslexic, so I couldn't read or write. But I wanted to be a drummer at the same time, and nobody could help me with that. So at a very young age, I had to teach myself, how to play the drums. It took me 1 full year for 3 hours a day to coordinate my hand and my foot to come down at the same time. Um, and the same thing with reading and writing. And of course, I had a very few special teachers, and of course, the love and support of my family. And without them, I don't know, where I'd be today for sure. So long story short, I guess. Um, so by the time, so from being exposed to the rhythms and patterns of drumming, I retrained the synapses in my brain. And so by the time I was in junior high school, I'd beaten all my disabilities 100%, thankfully. And then when I graduated college, in that time, and shortly thereafter, I became a professional drummer, working on a lot of projects for record companies and bands and artists and all kinds of major projects and things like that. And so from there, I knew I'd wanted to do the program in a way that I could reach children and adults. And so Mayor Bloomberg helped me launch the program in the New York City schools. And then from there, we went to other facilities like certain, health facilities and mental health centers and things like that, and school systems up until that time. And then I had the program, as of right now, I have the program in about 15 countries where I train psychologists and brain surgeons, occupational therapists, physical therapists, special ed teachers, drummers in the modalities of drum therapy. So then they can do the program in their own practices or communities. And we're the only ones that can certify somebody as a drum therapist. And so, that takes a lot of time. And then I help each one of those therapists implement the program in their communities throughout the world, which I'm so grateful to be able to do.
Well, and yeah, rewinding a little bit. I mean, it's great. I don't think we have too many 4-year-olds listening or watching, but like for families, who've got kids who are going through this, or even if you are a young listener and you're kind of going through something similar, it's there's again, Pat's story I think is one of inspiration and hope, and I would encourage them to reach out to Pat and the D.A.D program if you got a young child who's struggling in some of these same ways. And thanks for sharing that, by the way, Pat. But yeah, I think it's really great. My hat is off to you. Um, so yeah, go ahead. I'll shut up. Go ahead. I think it's great what you've done.
Yeah, no, fine. Thank you for that. And yeah, so we basically, do a lot of the outreach, and I do a ton of support. I do a ton of advocacy. Um, I've worked on some of the highest profile cases in the country where children have been abused. A lot of senators and congressmen throughout the country will call me and ask me to help them write legislation for their state. I wrote the first law in the country to add protection for special needs children and adults. A lot of lawyers will ask me to help them with their cases, and a lot of judges have reached out to me too, because in some cases there's a lot of black and white uh, intricacies in, and I don't mean color, but I mean as far as um,
Right.
just with the whole disability uh, uh, thing in general. It's horrible because there's not a lot of support. There's not a lot of help for these families or the children or the adults. We do a lot of work with wounded veterans. That's where drum therapy comes in, especially for either PTSD or maybe a wounded soldier needs to assimilate to a prosthetic device. So those neural pathways have to be developed the same ways, even the same ways that I did it for myself, actually, to develop coordination and independence and four-way independence, especially drummer. So you need that for sure. So yeah, a lot of good things.
Yeah, well, so my last question about this is definitely, again, it's really something that's really admirable. Now, does this apply to something else, or is it applicable? I know you're a drum specialist, and the program is about drums, but could the same, in theory, like for keyboards or guitar or other instruments, or is there something about drums that's different and more adaptable for what you're trying to do?
Yeah, it's drums because it's so physical for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I will say, Pat, I'm sorry that you didn't get the call when Nico McBrain retired from Iron Maiden. I'm sure Simon Dawson's good, but I think Steve Harris really missed out by not giving you the call to step in and be their new drummer. But
Well,
I've
I,
had
I appreciate that, but look, I've had my share of playing with some huge people, right? So, and working on some great projects. So I'm grateful for that as well.
Yeah, no, and we definitely, before we're done, let's talk about some of the great music you've made. But yeah, I witnessed you playing with Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Geoff Tate. I mean, holy shit. I mean, my God, what an incredible stage full of people. So yeah, I've seen you do it, and yeah, and you held your own for sure up at those. So yeah, we'll get to that. Pat has some cool music coming out. But all right, let's turn a little bit to something that you and I have worked a lot on, but no one's worked harder than you on this thing, and you've built this incredible thing, the Metal Hall of Fame, which also has done a lot of good, by the way. It's not just it's also an organization I think has done a lot to spread awareness. But well, yeah, just tell people if they're not familiar with the Metal Hall of Fame about what you wanted to do, what your proudest accomplishments are, and all the anything you want to say about the Metal Hall.
Sure. Well, first I have to say thank you, and also Rich Catino, your partner in crime there too, and our buddy, and I thank you for introducing me to him. I believe I met him through you. I know I did, and yeah, and Rich, you and Rich have just been such a great asset, and I appreciate all your help and all the time both of you have put in. And there's so many other on our team, right? I mean, it's just we've had so many great people. Of course, Eddie Trunk. Eddie's just been, great. He's been our host forever
Yeah,
since the beginning. Of course, Wendy Dio, Cathy Rankin, right? Cathy's awesome.
yeah.
Uh, there's just so many people that have helped out, and just so grateful for them coming along on the ride. And next year is our 10th anniversary.
Yeah, it's exciting. I know I don't know how much we can say, so I'm just gonna keep my lips zipped, but I don't know if you want to give any teasers or anything about the 10th anniversary for Metal Hall.
Well, we know it's going to be a huge production for sure.
Yeah, okay. All right. He's being coy, ladies and gentlemen, but yeah, that's cool. And I know, I mean, I'll just say that Pat told me a couple of things, and yeah, I know it's gonna be a big deal. You don't just clear your calendar. It's gonna be
Yeah,
great.
it's gonna be Grammy Award level. I mean, all the way to the top. It's gonna be huge. Um, yeah, Emmy Awards, the whole thing. It's gonna be enormous for sure.
Hi, I'm Vern C. Bell here with S.L.A.M with Jack Mangan and Dave Ellefson.
Everybody, David Olson here, and you should support S.L.A.M.
All right. Well, and support life and music again. We talk about kind of getting people through hardships. I think you did a great thing for some of the guys in Ozzy's band, especially. I'll let you tell the story. And Jimmy K actually deserves a lot of credit for his work in this. But yeah, again, I'll let you tell the story a little bit. But you know, go ahead. You tell the story.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, Jimmy has been with me. You came in what, a couple of years into it, I believe. I don't think you were there from the beginning.
No, well,
Uh,
I was there at the beginning as press, but yeah, I was there in 2017 as press, I should say. But no,
yeah,
I joined the organization 2020.
yeah, you sure did, and I'm so grateful. And to Jimmy, I mean, Jimmy's been there with me from the beginning, and as well. And look, you helped out in different ways too, but especially as we went on together. It's a whole team effort, and Jimmy's been there from the beginning, and I love Jimmy, and so when I found out um, that Lee Kerslake only had 7 months to live, which was on Jimmy's show, No Voice. Um, and his dying wish was to get his platinum albums for Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman as the original drummer and writer for Ozzy's band when he started. Hearing that his dying wish was to get his platinum albums, I kind of took it into my own hands to try to help that situation for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's all out there. It's all the stories are all documented out there. It was a great thing. I was not there that year. But but yeah, again, I had a baby at home, so I was not traveling much at that time. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a great thing that you did. And also, like, I mean, it wasn't the same thing, but I'm really proud. For me, actually, since it's we're interviewing Pat, I'll talk about me. My proudest thing among my proudest moments, probably my proudest moment is getting Paul Diano inducted. Just the legendary original recording singer for Iron Maiden. Yeah, absolute legend, absolutely worthy. So that was a great thing we did. But yeah, I mean, you've rubbed elbows and inducted so many incredible folks across the world. So let me turn it a little bit negative. So I know because I hear it too. Sometimes we get some shit about some of the people that we haven't been able to get in, but I think people don't understand that there's some challenges. Talk to me about some of the shit that you get about the hall and what. Here's your chance to kind of explain like this is the reality of the situation, everyone.
It really is, Jack, and because we go through this all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
So, we really do. So, and I get it because look, I started the Metal Hall of Fame as a huge fan, right? And so, um, the situation is that, of course, the fans vote, and they can vote all year round on the website, metalhalloffame.org. But there's a lot of times, for whatever reasons, we can't get the artists that all of us want in for a multitude of reasons. They don't want to be involved. They don't like award shows. They're not available. That's the biggest problem is, the time when we do the show, are people available? Who's on tour? Who's doing what? So timing is always a big factor on that, for sure. So those are some of the issues. The management, of course, plays a big part of that as well. And it's just, one of those things, and I get it. But, we always try to do the best that we can for sure, as you well know. I mean, we just pound away on it, don't we? Especially you and I.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and we get some like, I'm still upset that we haven't gotten John Denver in, but like, I'm kidding, of course. But yeah, by the way, John Denver's awesome, but he wouldn't fit in the Metal Hall of Fame. He should be in other halls of fame. But yeah, I mean, we get, I my hat is off again to all the things that Metal Hall of Fame has accomplished, and here's to many many more years of it doing good in the community and we'll get it to him. And just I never speak for the hall because Pat is the Pat is the figurehead of the hall. But I will say I think I'm safe to say that we acknowledge all those bands. If you're going to talk about such and such tour, used to do headline tours or still doing headline tours. Like, yeah, we know that. We love these bands and respect them. It's just, yeah, it's logistics sometimes. Sometimes everybody wants it to happen. I can think of a band you and I talked to, and the lead singer was like, yes. And everyone said, the management said, yes, let's make it happen. And just logistically, it still hasn't happened yet. So it's, we hear you. I guess that's all. Again, I'm not speaking for Pat here now, but we hear you.
No, that's okay. We do, yes. And you're doing such a great thing with S.L.A.M, and thank you for having me involved with that too. It is really very needed, and hats off to you for doing such an awesome job with S.L.A.M for sure.
Well, thanks. And actually, all right, so you kind of set it up perfectly. So, well, I'll ask you to kind of give some words of wisdom or advice, or whatever you can for anyone who's struggling with. It doesn't have to be suicidal tendencies, haha. But it doesn't have to be suicidal ideation or suicidal tendencies or any of that stuff, or wanting a Pepsi, or it can just anyone who's kind of in a dark spot. What's your advice for them to kind of persevere and get through it and kind of keep going and look to the future?
Well, definitely don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to reach out. That's going to help you tremendously. That can help half the battle right there. Just being able to find somebody that can help, you with whatever situation it might be. And it's so hard because look, as a child with special needs, nobody was there for me or my family, right? So I understand these things firsthand. Um, and I mean, depression is a big thing. Suicide is a big thing. I have helped in active suicide situations in the past. I've helped with all of those things, and I tell you, it's a shame because we need more help, and for the people who are suffering, and it's just not there, Um, and so at that point, it's what do you do? Where do people turn to? Because the funding is just so limited, even for people that need um, to be in a facility, either a mental health facility or a home, a group home, something like that. It's just so hard. And I've been on the board of directors for numerous uh, programs, nonprofits that have physical housing, and the issues are just unbelievable, financially and otherwise, staffing them and so, but you can't be afraid. Anybody that hears my voice that has an issue, has a serious issue, don't be afraid to talk to somebody about it. You can always call 911, of course. Um, you could always call us here at the D.A.D program too, because we do a lot of that as well. Um, so you reach out to dadprogram.org. You can email us and talk to us, and it's that support that we really need. And a lot of what I do, even on my end, and Jack, you'll see this as you go further down the road with S.L.A.M, depending how involved you want to get. I mean, I do a lot of advocacy where I even write the special ed programs, school programs, and curriculums for children, for parents that need the help. As an advocate, I will help people either get not so much funding, but the help that they need, even medically. There's just so many different ways that people can help, but don't be afraid to reach out to somebody for sure if you're having any kind of an issue.
You know what I love about what you just said, and by the way, let me just give a disclaimer that neither Pat nor I, neither one of us neither one of us have our doctorates. We're not psychologists or licensed counselors, but I think it's good advice. It's really, really good advice. So if a counselor contradicts anything you hear here, then listen to them, like a licensed counselor.
I can tell you this. I mean, I work with a lot of them, so in a way, I am, in full disclosure, I'm not a doctor, but as a therapist, especially a drum therapist, which is an official standing. I do work with DIFUS, which was DIFUS here in New Jersey, Division of Family Youth Services. So I do work with a lot of law enforcement agencies and help them on the cases and do case management, child protective service agencies. I co-manage some cases time to time with them as well. They'll reach out to me to help. So yeah, so I can say that for myself, that yeah, it's so important, and you just see it firsthand, and it's just hard because especially nowadays, I think the way that things are going, just with the world in general, right? It seems like it just gets crazier and crazier, and a lot more people are affected. I mean, look, with COVID, so many special needs kids lost out on their therapeutic intervention, their special ed classes in schools. So that 1 or 2 years put many of those kids 5 years behind. And I don't know if we'll ever make up for that. Not to be dramatic, but so
Mhm.
especially those kids that were at their very formative years, and now here we are, even 3, 4, 5 years later. That delay in that hurt a lot of people, and the effects aren't even known yet, for sure. Never mind with the actual inoculations and things like that and the vaccines, that aside, but just the help that they needed to have from teachers and therapists that they weren't able to get. So this is by no mean over yet, and the effects of COVID, and it's going to be a long, hard battle for sure.
Yeah, actually, we talked about this on a recent show about that. I mean, there's not the silver lining, I guess, is that we've improved some of the online facilities, and like the fact that we're able to talk this way. I mean, this is inevitable, but I mean, I think some of that stuff has improved. However, I'm going to still back up your point that there's nothing that can replace, for many cases, one in-person, therapeutic help. So I'm going to agree with that. I'm also going to say, stand corrected that yes, Pat is actually a licensed counselor, so and therapist. So yeah, so that's a fair point. But so let me circle. So what I really wanted to point out is I really loved what you said about reaching out to someone, and the only thing I would add to that is that yes, there are some people out there who are unreceptive, or just not in a space where you may not get a great response your first time you reach out, but don't give up if if your first outreach kind of ends up with you don't get the results you want. So that's the only other thing I'd add. So that's not really a question, Pat, but I'm still going to pass the baton to you, like to take it from
You
there.
know, Jack, it's a really good point. Yeah. Jack brings up a really good point that, don't be afraid to keep trying, to reach out to people. It's going to be tough for sure. Not everybody's going to be there the first time. It may not happen. So reach out, keep trying, do the best you can, and think about what you're doing, where you want to go, and the help that you think you do need. Um, and just try to do the best, that you possibly can.
Great. Yeah, and there's always hope, and there's always cool things that can be done, that can happen. And actually, that's a clumsy segue, but I'm still going to use it as a segue back to promoting Pat. So yeah, you've also done some. So I mean, Metal Hall, of course, it's huge. That program is huge, but you've got your own music career. You've got your music going on. Talk to us about some of the amazing projects and programs you've been involved with in the last, I don't know, the last couple of years. You've done some incredible stuff.
Yeah, even the last couple of years. I mean, back in the day, um, I was fortunate enough to do a lot of, I've worked with some of the biggest music publishers, playing on projects and things like that, which is great, such a great honor. Record company executives, artists. Over the past couple of years, we have the Metal Hall of Fame All-Star Band, which is a collaboration of different musicians working together. So, for example, on one track, um, we have Rudy Sarzo and Bruce Kulick together. On another track, we have Derek Sherinian, Bob Daisley, Mike Orlando, which is just phenomenal. We have so many other musicians that have really, worked with us. We have the All-Star Band with Steve Vai, Geoff Tate, Joe Satriani, Chris Poland, Bjorn Englund, myself, which was great. We've done a lot of different collaborations. That Mike Romeo from Symphony X, of course, working with me on some of that stuff too. So yeah, it's good. There's some prog, there's some metal on there. And yeah, fans love it. It's available. It's through Deco Entertainment, but it's always available on the website, metalhalloffame.org. And as with all our other merchandise and things like that, yeah, we always have some good stuff going on. And by the way, we should say this, right, Jack, for sure, that you can always go and vote for your famous artist at the website as well. There's a whole voting section there, and it's all about the fans who make it happen, who pick the artists that we induct, and then it goes to our nominating committee.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'll tag onto that also, that there's a lot of cool stuff that has happened and that is planned at the Metal Hall of Fame website. So yeah, definitely pay attention over there too. Yeah, we've done a lot of great stuff over there over the years, and yeah, I again, without giving anything too much away, Pat and I have talked. There's cool stuff happening at the website as well. Well, yeah, I mean, so again, Pat, I think your story is great, Pat. I think it's inspiring to people. That's the number one reason, not just because we're buds and we work together at the on making the Metal Hall of Fame great and all the great things you've accomplished with the Metal Hall, but again, I think your story is really inspiring to people. So I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to us today. So I'm going to put you on the spot one more time, and then we'll be done here. So take us out with some words of wisdom, and then and I'll just say again, thank you, everyone. Go metalhalloffame.org, the D.A.D program. Find it all and do whatever you can to support and keep these organizations strong and going. Anyway, take us out with some words and wisdom.
Yeah, well, definitely keep rocking is definitely number one, right?
Yes.
Also, right along that is if you do have a health issue, if you are going through a mental health crisis, don't be afraid to reach out. Call 911, reach out to your local police department, reach out to your family, whomever it is. Just reach out to somebody, and somebody will be there to help one way or another for sure. And and Jack, congratulations too with S.L.A.M. I think you're doing a great thing, and keep up all the good work on your end as well.
Well, thank you so much. Pat Gesualdo, everyone. Thank you so much.